Hey, peace and blessings. Raul Bat, welcome. Bienvenido. People, how you doing? It's been a while since I got on here. This is also being recorded through my Spotify, the audio. Um, just want to let everybody know. Well, last I spoke on these energy natural centers that I'm uncovering, what I'm saying, through different studies, comedic studies, and also different studies, um, what they call esoteric metaphysical studies. Because remember, these energies is consciousness and awareness that we focus it on certain things. You know what I'm saying? And so the energy, it's a illumination, and it also relates to the electromagnetic forces, right, from the sun that we harness. This is the part of us from the sun, the etheric body that we have, and it has different centers, many, many, many centers, these etheric bodies. And so in uncovering these centers, and we see how in natural nature, how we utilize this in natural nature and in our bodies, having conversations, about these abilities, natural abilities. The next center that I wanted to speak about, and at the same time, I'm learning, I'm learning, and I'm welcoming you to be part of that path, of that walk with me as we dive in and we put our awareness into the centers. Again, let me see here. Again, where awareness goes, energy flow. And what is awareness? Awareness is that glowing ball of light. It's a consciousness. And the mind is that vast, that reservoir, space of many different areas. So, and remember, we already have spoken about the different minds that we have in our bodies, right? Spoke about the subconscious, the submerged consciousness, that which is here at the solar plexus, which is out. And you see that through the feeling. That's a reservoir of feelings that are transferred from genetics, or feelings from that we experience every day. And there's certain feelings from upbringing. You know what I'm saying? It stores itself in this sort of like a mind reservoir of these feelings. And that's here, solar plexus. And when it becomes aware, the neurons lights up, move around in this area. It's a plexus of gray matter which is able to sustain these neurons from moving around. And then it comes up to the heart, wraps around the heart, and the heart pumps. Because it's a vitality of life, the solar plexus, and those neurons give information to the heart to pump, pump, pump. And as it pumps, those neurons also travel to the mind. And as they travel into what we call the pineal gland, I'm wondering if I could bring up something on the pineal gland, since we're going to discuss a little bit about the pineal gland. I don't want to go too deep into it. I just want this to be on the surface, and then we're going to dig deep on part 2. But let's see. What do we have? So in this area where there's this energy that is superimposed by the pineal gland, right? The pineal gland is superimposed by that. But this is an energy center that now they call it chakras in other cultures, and they have different other names for it. But when you look at nature has this ability to what? Visualize, to see. We have that nature in us, right? We're going to discuss about optic nerves. what are optic nerves, and how it relates to the pineal gland, and also this energy. Because remember, this energy is behind certain abilities that we have, natural abilities. Okay. First, I want to say this. I want everybody to please like the video when I'm done. If you like it, help a brother out. Also, share the video. Let's see. Is this going to be shareable? But anyway, so in this area, if we call it the brow area, it's with your pineal gland. It's called the brow area. Some people say it's the third mind, others say it's the first mind. But whatever it is, they're saying it's a mind. Okay? And this is where we see. You see it on top. Remember, there's one missing all the way on top and the other one missing all the way in the bottom. But this one here is right at the brow area. And it's the ability to see, to gain information, to see. What we do, we see the electromagnetic forces at work. Right? Like over here, we become the forces, right? Those forces. We connect with the earth. And then at the root of our existence, we become that, right? These forces, magnetic forces. Then we feel these magnetic forces in the sacral center, right? And then we go up and at the will of the solar plexus, we will these electromagnetic forces. And here we care, we abundance, we share this magnetic forces right here. This is the access, the sharing part. And then the speaking, we speak about the electromagnetic forces. Like I'm doing now, I'm harnessing the power of resonance, right? Here we see the electromagnetic forces. We see. We can see it with the naked eye. We can see it also with the mind eye. We can see it with our external eye, right? Which has optical nerves. And then that translates into the mind eye, which perceives it, visualizes it. So here is the point where we visualize this electromagnetic forces all around us. This is a natural ability. You can't deny that we have a natural ability. Now, what do you say? What about people that are born blind? Well, people that are born blind only don't have the external eye, but they have an inner eye. The ability to perceive and visualize from the inside. And that is another school. Another school. That is, I mean, I've seen a special, I forgot where I saw it at, that, you know, the certain country are investing in their children, and what they're doing is they at an early age, they're teaching them how to put blindfolds on. And with the blindfold, stopping all of those outer sensing and concentrate on the inner, and then present them with color paper, and they're able to see, feel, and see things all around them without even using this optical eye, because you have an inner eye. And to harness that is to practice that. That's the part that help us visualize our dreams. Remember, you're in the dark. When you go to sleep, the melatonin kicks in, and it puts you out, lights out, right? But then another light comes on while you asleep. So this is that energy that had the capability of doing that. You know what I'm saying? In 1 second. So this energy has been translated through the Hindus or through the sort of metaphysical communities. They say this is where your insight is at. The insight. Now, insight is the light. And that light casts a shadow of illusion. Illusion comes from an older concept of lude, which means to play. So when you play with somebody's mind, you play with their feelings, you're eluding them, but you're creating an illusion through sight. I hope I said that right. You know what I'm saying? So the shadows of the illusion, and you know that a lot, in this civilization, a lot of organizations and a lot of fraternity, they amplify this part of the shadow self, which is the illusion world. They amplify that. Now there's a discussion, always been a discussion, is like, is this the real world, reality, the real world, or this a world of illusion, Maya, a world of illusion? And that we're just really just particles, consciousness, utilizing an avatar body, that we choose an avatar body as a fetus. You know what I'm saying? And that avatar body was grown, harnessed, and grown, right? Through the womb, it was grown, with bacteria and viruses and stuff. And then this consciousness, this particle, this spirit, this character and personality came to life within inside this avatar. It's just another perspective, another way of looking at it. When you look at the mind, this reservoir of ideas, or this reservoir of thoughts that create insight, these ideas and thoughts, is grabbing all of the electromagnetic, all of the feelings, or the acts, everything that's going on in your body is being funneled, is being concentrated in this area, and it's giving you an insight. And remember, this is reciprocal to the sacral, the sexual organ. Orgasm is not only felt there at the sacral, that's the manipulation of your sexual organs, but it goes all the way up to the pineal gland. Also have a orgasm, this euphoric state. You're able to achieve that in this energy insight that starts interpreting itself through the other energy centers. But anyway, that's insight and illusion, right? What is illusion, right? Let's look up the word illusion. Let's bring up the illusion. Let's see. Illusion. Let's look up illusion. Let's see. Is that right? Yeah. I think I got it right. That's illusion. Something that deceives by producing a false or misleading impression of reality. A false impression of reality. We're bombarded by illusion every day. Every day. And I hope that I'm not casting any illusions here. I don't want to elude anybody and cast any illusions here. Just want to keep it real. Real. Speak about this. These energy centers and how it relates to us, and how we can use it to heal ourselves. Okay? So, illusion, the state of condition of being deceived or misapprehension, an instant of being deceived. So there's a lot of deception. In psychology, a perspective as a visual stimuli, an optical illusion, okay, that represent what is perceived in a way different from the way it is in reality. Right? An optical illusion, This is high magic also is at this center here because, you know, magicians are a good magician is very evolved in this particular area of learning how to cast illusions, manipulating space, silence, that vacuum, and creating or manipulating the natural creations. That's magic. If everything delicate to do with silk, absolutely the act of deceiving, so deception, delusion. You can elude somebody with an illusion to make them delusion. But we're bombarded by this, you know, amplified. This illusion has been amplified in this civilization, and we have to be very careful. And this is for my Bible thumpers. Very, very careful, because there's a lot of them doing it intentionally, and a lot of them know what they're doing because they're studying the act, especially when they go to certain theology university, all these different organizations, and teaches you how to amplify this illusion that even if you start questioning the teachings among the organization, you're outcast, because this is what they invested in. And so, appearing again, deceiving, something that deceives by producing a false, misleading impression of reality. And so in this center, bring it up. First of all, you visualize. This is where your perception is at, your vision, your devotion. It's your sense of devotion comes from this particular energy center also. Fidelity, right? The high magic. Sacred love, mysticism. And you join aside from the veil. There's different layers of veils when you come to this particular area and you start perceiving things at a inner perception, inner vision, they call inner visions, and you start pulling the veil back on all these illusions that's being cast. And the reason why, and I'm going to segue, the reason why I mentioned that was because when you pull the veil, what do? You reveal, and that's revelation. So this particular energy center, the balance, the axis of this particular energy center is revelation, the revealing of things, revelation to reveal. Pulls the veil back. So at times you have, so when it pulls it back, is it pulled back, is that pulling back an illusion, or is it revealing another illusion within the illusion? So it goes into layers and layers and layers. But then how do we stay grounded again? Well, there you go. You stay grounded. When you examine what is the center, what the ability, natural ability that we have as humanoid and that exists in natural nature around us, is the revealing, the revelation. It's like springtime reveals the beauty of those plants and trees, right? With the flowers, it's revelation. It's like I'm saying, you can see this in all natural nature, this ability to reveal the truth about its beauty. Those electromagnetic forces that are harnessed within those trees and those plants and the human body. And here we reveal our mind. It becomes mysticism. It becomes high magic. It becomes this inner vision, this inner beauty. When you are balanced, when you balance your insight with your illusion, you get what? Your revelations. Think about that. Well, on the next round, I think I'm going to go into the Kemetic science and actually hieroglyphics and take it back there, because I explain to you why as a second part to this podcast. Now, when things are revealed and we deal with revelations, right? We deal with this center as being the center also of wisdom. What is wisdom, right? What Naba, right? Nabai, Naba. Or what is wisdom? In the sacred order, we learn that wisdom is knowing knowing what's right and wrong in the history of things. Person got wisdom because they lived. They made mistakes, or they were able to distinguish. Oh man, this is wrong. This is right in the history of a particular thing or event. They know it. That's wisdom. When you start having proper insight and you start pulling back the veil of those illusions, right? And you balance your mind, now intellect start to seep through, and your wisdom. You start seeing what's illusion and what's reality, and your wisdom grow with that every day. There's a thing that also in this particular energy center, you have to balance your intellect, right, with the information you take in, with also your feeling, your intuitive thinking. So that's the balancing the subconscious and the conscious again. Your intellect being your conscious, and your subconscious, that submerged conscious, is your intuitive side, your intuition. Well, this center here balances that. Because that's where wisdom comes in. You start balancing the two. Even if you have a certain gut feeling, right? And remember what I said about those gut feelings. Sometimes it's by the foods that we eat. And we get certain feelings that we elude our minds with certain illusions. And then you lean more to fear or paranoia, So schizophrenia and paranoia, a lot of it has to do with the root of it, has to do with the food. Food is thought. Think about that. You think a certain way because you're eating a certain way. That's holistic health. You eat right, you think right. You eat less or you fast and you think clearly. But that ball of energy is cleared out. It's purified because it starts heating up and starts purifying itself. So it starts heating up. And so you have clear consciousness, what they call clear consciousness, clairvoyance, a voyage that's clear, a clear audience, an audio that's clear. And you get to hear your thoughts. which deal with the throat energy. But remember that all of these energies are interconnected. Thank you very much for the one person that's watching. That's okay. I'm just recording. I'm just putting it live to record, but I appreciate you. But yeah, talk to me. Talk to me. So, like I said, there's an organization that I said they amplify the illusions. Magicians do that. And sometimes you can manipulate illusions just so that you can reveal a reality. You know that? Check that one out. It's balance. This is the center that you have to harness that balance. I'm gonna put on my notes. What's going on my notes? So here you open up your mind, right? You know what's good in opening the mind, expanding the mind's travel. Because when you travel, you're going in through measurements and your mind is receiving a lot of information in terms of it's putting into the mathematical and logical. It's working in your mind when you travel. That's how I like to take a ride out with the car and just travel around the neighborhood, just travel. Very important. Traveling helps expand the mind. Great minds travel a lot. They travel. And they talk about travel, inner travels too, intergalactical travels and all. Oh yeah, but we ain't gonna go into that now. Here you develop a creative imagination, imagineering imagination. Again, organization. For instance, like Disney. Disney was about imagineering and casting that illusion. Started with a mouse that speaks on a tugboat. A mouse. Is that reality? When we look at a mouse, is a mouse really can get on a boat and tug and speak? Excuse me. Huh? Yet it became so huge in Disney, in the world of Disney, in the world of Universal, the movies. You know what I'm saying? The world of literature. The world is a stage, and you're an actor in the stage. Is that reality? I give you a key of my perspective of thinking. I try to think like the Twa. I want to think like the Twa. I want to think like the Khoikhoi and the San Sang, the people of that particular area in the rainforest in the central part of Africa. It's in my genetics, but I want to think like that. And when I view the world, I view it from that perspective because that is a natural perspective. One of the most ancient perspectives here on this earth. And then, of course, you learn perspective culture from the Adamic race that was created, and your perspective from the Palladian, the whales and the druids, all these different perspectives, and you view it and you see how they cast the illusion. But the Twa people weren't invested in that. They was living natural nature and revelation. They don't even have that much mythology. You know that? No mythology. All they do is actually harnessing that power within themselves. So when you see them dancing in the circle and hitting and that rhythmic force, what are they doing? That earth magnetic field, they're revering that up. And then they'll sit down and use certain foods that open up their mind, and they travel. They're not stable in one side. The village, they travel. nomadic, to expand the mind. You know, when you lay back, your ability to visualize something in this is this power that we have, this natural nature power, ability that we have is to visualize, set those boundaries. Say, oh, you visualize your goals, your thoughts. Okay, this is what I want to see for myself. This is what I. There's times you want and you, but it's like, do you really need what you want? You have to learn to want those. You have to learn to want those needs, not just want for wanting. We always feel we need this, we need that in order to add something to our life. But we get to a point where we don't want anything. We're only using what we need in life. And so there has been coaches that invested in that, in knowing that the electromagnetic forces, they need to harness the power of the sun. So they have solar technology, what they call the solar people in ancient time, that had this solar technology that you see these pyramids and all these different sites. You know, so they they harness the earth magnetic field, they harness the star, the constellation field, and they balance that. And that's our very survival. That's who we are. Just give me a second when I bring up some notes. But yeah. Hmm. Let me see. I should have put it up on here. There you go. Okay. Yes, just waiting on my notes to come up. But again, in communicating about this, and remember that this energy or this ability, which has energy in it, you know, because an ability means is a movement, ability, adjective, movement, right? Abilities. In these abilities is harness energy. It's what gives this ability a potentiality for something to exist. It's potentiality, it's energy. Everything is energy. And energy is go hand in hand with consciousness. Everything is consciousness. It's what they're discovering now. And then having that conversation, knowing that everything is consciousness. Everything has an energy. Everything comes from this particle that was seated on this earth. Just bringing up my notes. Don't want to go in too deep. I don't know, might have to do another. Sometimes we can take, you know, like I said, religion took they took spirituality out of religion. But then they took natural nature out of spirituality. I constantly have to reiterate that. Constantly say that. They took the spirituality out of religion. So religion became a business. It became something different. And spirituality, they separated that. So they get spirituality, religion and spirituality, and they put it at odds with each other. Or there are religious people that become spiritual people later on. But they took the spirituality out of that religion, out of religion, but they took the natural nature, these abilities that we harness, and they took that out of spirituality and just created a system in spirituality that is, that we have to tie it back with natural nature. It's not wrong to be religious, because religious, in a true sense of the word, religion is religar, which is to bind by certain morals and principles. As in society, that's how they get down. That's how you need it. You know, can't be a wild man all the time. Do what you want to do, because you're gonna get snatched up. That's the whole idea with Ishmael, and being the wild man. Everybody would hate him because he was a hunter and a wild man. And that's disgusting. Where the hams come from, the Hamitic, the Kemetic. You know what I'm saying? But we'll go into that some other time. But so in this center, in this ability, we can open up our consciousness to visualize actually the balls of light. We could utilize that. You know what I'm saying? We could actually visualize a ball of light coming into this area or coming down into the other area, into our bodies. We could visualize. And the ability to do that visualization is right, harness right there. Those psychic abilities are born. We can feel the psychic ability from the solar plexus, because as all those neurons, remember, travels up into this particular brain. And then we have a discussion how that translated to the multiversity brain, what they call the super consciousness. Right? So I'm just going to briefly go over this right here. But so this is the link between you and the outer world. Right here, this energy center. The link between you and how you perceive the outer world. So when you harness energy right, we can cut through the illusions. And we start assessing those deeper truths to see beyond the mind, beyond the worlds. But now, beyond this mind of ideas, and then there's another mind when we go beyond that multiversity mind, what they call the universe mind, the constellational galactical mind. So we start going into other truths. So it's extremely important to maintain a healthy diet in order to balance. Okay. So in this energy center, also it promotes intuition. We know that. Pattern recognition, right? Learning skills and memory. Memory. Again, all it has to do with electromagnetic. You get it? Magnetic forces that create memory. And at times that memory you can transfer into another magnetic field. But that we'll talk about that science later on. That's dealing with acoustic engineering. How do you know this energy center is blocked? Your problems with perceiving the interconnectedness of the world and your place in it. problems perceiving the interconnectedness of how you connect to the world and your place in the world. When you have this problem, then it's like you have to work on this particular energy center because this is your connection to the outer world. The walls between the inner world and the real worlds, they start to seem so high. And you find it difficult to apply your intuition or trust that inner voice in you or recall important facts or not able to learn new skills. If you find yourself in that with these problems, then most likely this is a blockage. You have to work at this particular energy center. A disability, which is, again, you have to learn how to recognize what is illusions from reality, from that insight, and you have to learn how to sift through both. When there's an overactivity on this particular energy center, it causes you to be very judgmental, dismissive, inward focused, in extreme cases, hyperactive. Because then they could call this particular energy center, this particular center here, the brow, what they call the first eye, third eye, can cause illusion and disconnections to reality right there. That veil, the cut can happen right there. And also, there are medical studies that show that, when you have headaches and dizziness, blindness, brain lesions, and all of this associated with this particular energy here. And it comes with depression and also with addictive behavior. So we have to be very, very cautious of this particular energy. You know what I'm saying? We have to really, really start paying attention and within ourselves saying it to the, like I said, speak to yourself and say, in this particular brow energy center, let me see the truth in things. This is where a lot of affirmations also come from, When you want to balance this particular energy, you know, and meditation, it's a way of balancing. When you meditate, the particular when you meditate, you do a lot of focusing on this particular energy, your ability to view things. Remember your consciousness. Wherever you put your consciousness into, that energy gonna flow there. So if you meditate and you put you visualize, even if you can't visualize, but you think about this particular area, your perception, the connection to the outer world, what's your place in it? You start asking these questions: who am I? Where am I? How am I? You know what I'm saying? And you start connecting again with who you really are and with the world. You maintain your focus. When you start doing this meditatively, you regain your focus. You should regain your focus. And then there's certain exercises, gems. Uh, so, so this is just really an introduction, because there's a lot of more we can go out to, but basically we we covered that this is your ability to visualize your connectiveness, visualize your connectiveness to the outer world, the way you perceive it, and you're cutting through the illusions. You know what I'm saying? And you're paying attention to this. It's what you see, your insight, and you're paying attention to that. You're putting your conscious, your awareness on that, helps in strengthening this particular area. And then you start going to other areas from beyond and beyond, beyond. I think I'm going to end it right there. And for those who subscribe to my Spanish channel, which I already got a few of them, I'm going to do some Spanish podcasts. I'm going to catch up. There's a few of them that I want to throw at the same time. I record them first and then I put them on. But just to recap again, hey, listen, if this was any way beneficial to you and you would like to share it, well, first of all, like it and share it on my YouTube, okay? And we just discussed the ability to see insight, they call insight, and the shadow self illusions. Okay? This is the cultivation of respect for the creative energies of the multiverse. Well, again, the enlightenment in and the natural ability of revelation, the revealing of things, is in this energy right here. We call it the energy of revelation. A Kemetic sign would be Isis, but we'll get into that later on, how all that correlates, you know, because which I'm going to segue into a conversations that's having now. People, you know, it's when you speak about Kemetic science, Kemet, a lot of people think they're authority on Kemet, you know, but there are some reputable researchers out there and scholars and reputable stuff like that. But then now, one thing that I've learned is that things do change. Change is constant, but that change that is constant is renewal. It's renewal. And through time, things get polluted, but then the ability for it to transmutate, right? In nature, from a nature perspective, right? So in a civilization like Kemet, you don't have to look far to know how the Kemetics live. Because it's no different than how you live your life today, especially if you're living your life according to your natural nature. It's just that an environment was different, so the economy was different, you know. But each human on this planet, humanoids, have these abilities that are what we're speaking about, this that we inherited from the electromagnetic forces. We inherited from the solar, our solar provider in this constellation, right? That energy harnessed from there. Our abilities to harness and to live that, it's always been not nature. Always. This is ability in nature that is constant. It resonates because it's echoing. It's on and on. It's a constant, it's eternal. You just have to wrap your mind around, you just have to conceptualize the idea of eternal and infinity. Eternal and infinity. Just like you think about almighty, powerful, almighty, eternity, infinity. When we speak about that and we visualize that, then we're harnessing that particular energy center. And so this is something that the Kemetic, if you live in Kemet, if you're a human, you're naturally, this is a natural ability that we're born with. It's encoded through nature, is encoded in our very, very existence. It's just, for instance, in Kemet, they didn't have money like we have money, right? We got fiat money. We got what they call transactional money, fiat money, all the ledger, all these different type of money, these systems that had evolved through this civilization. But when you look in Kemet, they could have had ledgers, yeah, and account. And that's what the whole idea with the scribe was doing, is keeping an account of everything for the pharaoh or for the Nasut, keeping an account on everything, right? That's the whole idea of the baboon. The baboon keeps account of his troop. They travel in troops, baboons. And they keep an account on who's in their troop. They know. That's the nature of a baboon. So when you look at the idea of Kemet using an expression to express how they relate, it's all natural nature, how they related to natural nature. It's not too far-fetched. And of course, through time, what I'm saying, things change. Things change, or things renew. I hate the word change because it seems like it changes to something different. No, it just renewed itself. That's the change. Change is constant. It's just a consistency of something. It's where also resonance comes from. Echoing. Fractal. That is infinite, eternally and internally infinite, and is powerful. So we're going to go into how, so when people say, oh, you know how to read a metadata? Or decipher. I don't need to learn or decipher the metadata. I can see the metadata and see how natural or what is relating. The older, pre-dynastic art. I can look at a piece of art. I can hear a piece of music. Well, we're looking about visualizing in music, in art, in vision. This is how the Kemetic thought, because it's the same way we think today. It's no difference. No difference at all. And there were spiritual groups that because for men, it's our ability to communicate, again, echo and communicate. We start having conversations with each other, and that's where you get the philosophy from. So yeah, the Kemetics were having conversations about different things, about nature, how they were viewing nature. They had to have that. And they were keeping an account on certain things. Yeah. Because it's all communicated, and it's all written on their glyphs. And so that's going to be another conversation when we look at all the natural abilities and how the Kemetics look at those natural abilities that we have. And then we can do into another culture, the Taino culture, the Utla. You can go into Utla, which I'll explain later on what it means by that. But, so I'm going to end this here. Well, I'm going to end my podcast on Spotify. And we're going to end it. Well, let's end it all here. So listen, peace and blessing. And I'm going to continue on, give you more and more and more on this particular energy, because we're dealing now with the top half of the heart, and we're dealing now with consciousness of what, consciousness is, of visualizing consciousness in a totally different way. Okay. And so peace and blessing.